Yeah, here I am. And it's, what day is it, I wonder? Monday. Yeah, Monday, February 6th. So we're a little bit off schedule here, but let me see. Here, there's me, right? I've been in the house doing some editing on this Volkswagen video, and it's starting to get a bit long. So I figured, well, might as well just cut it off there and see about putting out a video for you guys. So what did we do? Last week was cleaning up the wiring, right? All that wiring stuff got cleaned up and the heater got taken out. I'm waiting for parts to come along for that. And so then I decided that this week here, I'd go after the motor, put the motor back into it. So there is, right now, there's a motor back in it. Hey, that's kind of nice, eh? Look at that. It's, that's the underneath. And up there is the above. There's a motor up there. So, and then there's lots of, I had to get, number one, get the motor out of the other garage. And then number two was get the two parts put together, the motor and the transmission part, and the Trans-axel. And they got that all done, and using my hoist, which you can see right there, like a chain hoist or ratchet hoist. It works pretty good. And I brought in the workmate because I needed something solid to put stuff on. And then Buster's out here with me now, wondering what's keeping him. Anyway, back to the task at hand here. So the motor went in and I got it into the car, bolted down, and then a bunch of like tedious tasks that have to be done. I've got the fuel hooked up to it, and I've got some wiring hooked up to it, and axles put on, and things like that, all little things that just take time. Anyhow, so that's about it for this week, or this episode 34 of this van. So that's about it for this episode, and I'll see you all soon. Bye for now. Yeah, here I am. It's another day on the Volkswagen. Where am I? Yeah, here I am on the Volkswagen. Anyway, you can hear that tractor rumbling out the back there. I'm getting ready to bring the motor over and bring it into the shop here. So I've got, and I'll just show you here. There you go. So I've had the doors, for the front doors for the van sitting up against there. So I moved them over to on the wall there, and they'll be good there for a bit. I think that's pointing the right way. Yeah. And now I'll open up the door, and I've got the transmission loaded onto the tractor. I'll show you. Yeah, there's the transmission loaded on there, and then I had to pull that Frontier box out of the shop, and then I have to move that BMW. Now I noticed that the battery charger was not, it was going down to 11.6 volts, so I never charged up for a little bit before I started that one. Yeah, there's the transmission in. So next is the get the car out of the way and then move that motor over here, I hope. Yeah, that car never ceases to amaze me. Been sitting there for a couple of months. 3 months, I guess, since maybe, when did I put it in there? Before Fiona, so that was September, and it's been sitting there since Fiona, and started right up and moved out, so I can get the what I want out of there. So in here, I'll show you. You likely forgot all about this because it's so long ago since I stuck it in here. So here's the Volkswagen motor, and I've just got to get that, well, it'll just slide out of here now, like, there we go. Whoop. I just got to pull it over to the close to the door, and then I'll hook onto it with the tractor and take it over to the other shop. Okay, now that's again looking in the wrong place. There we go. Hey. Oh, camera wander. Anyhow, this thing here has got to go to the other side, so I'll get that done. Yeah, there's in here, mostly, close enough. So now I'll just unhook it there and pull it in, close the doors and turn the heat back on, I think. Okay, here I am back in the big shop. Now I rearranged some stuff here. I pushed the Porsche, it's on those little wheelie things underneath there. So I pushed it back so it'll be out of the way and it can stay there for a while. Then the Beamer's back in here. Now I might have to move it around later again. I might move that golf cart over to here where I'm standing. Yeah, my poor camera. Anyhow, I did order a new camera, so maybe we'll have some better photography coming up sometime not too far ahead. Now, what I said, there's a golf cart underneath that white thing, so I might move that over to here where I'm standing, and then I could push the Beamer over this way a little bit, move this big monstrosity just out of the way, and then when I get the motor running in the Volkswagen, I could slide it in there, and I put the hovercraft over here where it's easy to get to, and I'll slide that into the other side and do some work on it for a while. See if we can, wouldn't be bad to go hovercrafting in the spring, hey? We'll see what happens. I'm likely getting ahead of myself though. I better just focus on getting that Volkswagen to run and get some wheels on it. Now the one thing I just noticed is that the wheels for the Volkswagen are way back there behind, I don't know if you can see them back there, but they're back there behind the Porsche. So that'll be a little bit of a chore getting them out of there. And I think three of them hold air, one of them doesn't. And so I'll see what I can do about that. Now, next is to, well, it's a reasonably nice day today. Like it's maybe -7 or -8. So I think I'll grease up the tractor because it's due for grease, and then I'll let that motor and everything warm up in there before I try touching it. Yeah, there it is. That's the van's up high, right? And transmission and motor. Now I've got to I have to get it off of that motor stand so that I can put the what do you call that thing? The proper plate on it on the back of the. I've got to torque the nuts on the back of it there. I've got new. I'll show you. Whatever you call this. This is the plate that hooks onto the thrust thing there. The thing that I can never remember the name of. Where is it? On the transmission. Whatever you call that thing. That plate hooks onto it, and it's hooked into the not very much light here, but it's hooked okay, it's hooked onto the back plate here with a bunch of nuts, and so those nuts, I've got new ones of them because they're Torx, and one of them was a little bit stripped out, so I got a new set of them from wherever I get that stuff, and so they have to be changed out. That means taking it off of there, so I've got my hoist over there somewhere. I can just hook that hoist on and lift it off of here, lift it up a bit and get that all off. Then I'll think about how am I going to get that two pieces together. I think I'll put them back here on the floor, and I have in the other shop I have like a motorcycle hoist that I can, a motorcycle jack that I can put underneath this one to move it around with. So, oh boy, I just have to figure that all out. Might have to get the tractor in here just at the edge and lift it and put it down. We'll see. But the first thing is to clean up that transmission. Now I've just got to let it, it's going to warm up for a little while, but then I've got a bunch of degreaser, so I just will put it on a pan of some sort. I don't know what I'll put it on there. Put it on something to catch all the grease, and then I'll see about getting it cleaned off. But first, it's got to warm up because it's been sitting in the other shop for all this cold weather, and yep, it's 20 below. So anything I touched with it now would just freeze. So it'll just sit here overnight and I'll let it warm up. Looks like a bit of transmission fluid leaking out of there, which not a big surprise. But I do have a new seal for that has to go on too for the thrust converter. What do they call that thing? Oh, I don't know what you call it. Where's my feet now? Now it's not. Now it's looking too far down, right? Oh, what a machine. Yeah, here I am. It's I've got my old telephone camera back. I don't know whether you can see me or not, but here I am. This is the transmission and Trans-axel, right? And starter. So this is a thrust converter? No. Torque converter. That's the torque converter at this end. Torque converter. Yeah, that's and I got it up on a little wheelie thing so I can move it around pretty easy there now. So I'll take the wire wheel and clean off all that yuck. I did in the summertime, before it got cold out, I cleaned off all that yuck with like the pressure washer. So I'll just take the wire wheel to it and sort of clean it off as best I can. And then I'll think about bringing over the motor, which I can wheel. I know I can wheel that over to here and see if I can get them married together so they come together. Now this thing has got a stud there. There's no stud there. I wonder if it's supposed to have a stud. Don't know. I'll look in the book, I guess. But mostly it looks, it's, 40-year-old transmission. What the hell? That's the automatic transmission, so we'll just see how things work out with that. I think I'll be happy with an automatic transmission in this car. See what happens. Anyway, there you go. I've got my, it's an old phone that I used to use for this, and it's actually a pretty good camera, but the phone is past its due date. Yeah, there I've got the my little chain hoist out. So I'm going to lift it up and put it on top of this. I've got this workmate here. I don't know if anybody ever watches Henry's Garage. I watch Henry's Garage. He's got TR7 stuff, but he's got one of these workmates and seems to be able to use it for just about everything. He's really good with it. Some of the things you can do with that are great. Anyway, but I just lift it up and put stuff on it. So there you go. Yeah, there it's on the table now. That works pretty good, that little hoist. So I'll just unhook it, move it around a little bit, and get after it with the wire wheel so I can get it cleaned up a bit. Yeah, so I figured I'll take the this off of here, right? The what do you call that? Starter. Take the starter off. Now this bolt here came out okay, but this one here on top, it's supposed to be sitting in there. I didn't know it went all the way through like that. That hooks onto the motor way over there later. That's my stud that I thought was a stud, but it's not really a stud. Anyway, get that out of there. That'd be a real difficult task to get the starter apart. If you didn't know that, hey? Anyhow, so now I'll take it says, do not strike with hammer, right there. So I'll take a rubber hammer and see if I can get that to loosen off a little bit there so I can get it off. Yeah, so I got the starter out of there. It was all, I had to put some heat to it to get it here. And of course I had to break that. But that will still hold fast against it'll still fasten in there just fine with that tab broken half, because it has lots to grab on here on this side, which I'll make sure it has a washer on there too. Okay, now test out and see if it's actually any good. So here's positive goes, brought a battery over, hey? So positive goes to the big thing here, negative goes anywhere on the system down here, and then these things here, that's the trigger from the ignition is this. So when there's two of these on here, because one of them is a trigger from the ignition and the other one takes power from it while the engine's turning and takes it to the distributor or to the coil, and that makes sure the coil gets uninterrupted power when it's turning. That's my story anyhow. Okay, now just see what happens here. So you just cross those over and it should spin. Well. Oh yeah, that sounds okay. Whoops, about ready to fall apart here now. So this also puts power into the Bendix switch, which is just an electromagnet in here, and that pulls it on a little gear that goes through here and makes it go that way. Now you can change you can put a new Bendix spring on if you needed to, but it doesn't need one. Anyhow, so it seems to be working just fine. And that gear here looks like it's okay. It looks like it's, you know, not worn out, which would indicate that it was an old starter. So I think it's a reasonably new starter, like, you know, only 20 years old anyhow. Okay, so that's all. That's fine. I'm happy with the starter. I'll clean it up and put it back in later. Yeah, there. Now, I didn't expect it to be spotless clean when I finished, but I expected it to be pretty clean, and that's what it is. It's pretty clean. So now, I put a new, I didn't show you, but I did put a new seal behind here. Here's the old one. Now, the reason I put, oops, here's the old one. Now, the reason I put a new seal in was because this had come apart, but it looks like it's nothing wrong with that seal, so I'll just you know, save these things for backup, right? Who knows? Yeah, now, so tomorrow, it's quitting time now. So tomorrow I'll see about moving the motor up over close to there, right? And lift it up with the hoist, and then maybe I'll pull that transmission out so that it's hanging off this end of it, and see if I can't marry the two of them together somehow without too much difficulty, because it'd certainly be easier than putting one up in the car and then doing the other one. I think I can more easily get the whole thing to go up into the car all by itself. We'll see. I might have to do things 3 or 4 times. You never know with me. Anyway, that's it for today. I'll just leave things hanging, right? And I'll come back at it tomorrow. Yeah, here I am, back at it again. So it's, what day is Saturday? Saturday, I think. Maybe you're looking at me, maybe you're not. And what do I got going on? I've got this thing here, which is the Trans-axel and transmission. That's the transmission, Trans-axel. And that's the, hey, torque converter. Got it first time today. I'm going to see today if I can get it hooked onto the motor, which is over there, underneath all that stuff. But I think I can get the motor over here and see about getting them all hooked together. Anyhow, give it a whirl, see what happens. Yeah, I might have lost you there. I'll give it a whirl and see what happens. See if I can, well, first off, see if I can get that motor to navigate over to here. Then I'll lift it off of the thing. Have to put a new bolts in the back plate, or bolts into the back plate there, and then get it over to here somehow. Get these things hooked together. So get started. No, these things, that thing. Get started at it. Hey Google, what's the temperature out there?
In Rocky Point, it's currently minus 24 degrees. Due to current wind conditions, it feels like it's minus 40.
That's pretty damn cold. Yeah, so I've got the motor moved over here, and now what I'll do is I think I'll get this thing here lifted off of the workmate and put it onto that thing there again so I can roll it around. Then I'll get that thing there lifted onto the workmate, or off of that, and just set it on the workmate. And then I can, this one here is much easier to maneuver. Well, they're both heavier than you can believe, but it's easier to maneuver with the equipment on hand than that one there is. And so I can also get all the stuff done over there. I have to torque up those bolts that go in the front of it and stuff like that. I'll show you here. Down here, right down in there. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you can see down there. There's bolts that hold that plate here onto it. And so that plate, they need to be new bolts, which I have, and they have to get torqued, and they hook onto the torque converter part over here. Okay. Yeah, so there's a well-balanced thing. Hey, look at that. Just right in the middle of all that, and it's balanced right. I guess that makes it easy to move it up around. And I just had this hooky thing that I put through that hole in the middle there. Don't know if there's another one of them on that motor over there. Don't think so. Yeah, there I've got the, whatever you call that, I've got the motor stand removed, right? It's over there now. Now I don't have any excuses for not getting the TR7 motor out. Oh well. Anyhow, this is the torque converter, what do they call it? Torque converter drive plate. That's the torque converter drive plate. And it's got these, I've got these new bolts. The old ones are like, oh, that's a new one. Here's an old one here. That's like it's got a torque on it there. And the new ones are just a bit deeper. I hope they'll be all right in there. We'll just see. Anyhow, so this, they get an Allen key, which is this size here, whatever that is. 3/8 inch Allen key. There you go. And the little kit comes with red Loctite. So I'll put a bit of that on it too. Then they get torqued. It says here 65 foot-pounds or 90 nanometers. Anyway, there we go. Yeah, so all you do is put a bit of a steel plate down along underneath here and a bolt. And then that'll hold that from turning while you torque those things down. And they all get torqued up to 65. Yeah. And it works pretty good. No problems. There you go. Yeah, there now I've moved the, I've got my motorcycle lifter out and a couple of pipes on there to make it lift up. And then I was able to move it over there out of the way a bit. And now I'll get this underneath the lift, and I'll lift the lift up and then move that back in close, see what I can happen there. Oh, look at that, eh? It's sort of together. Now I've got a couple of, I put the nuts down on the bottom here just to hold it in place before it fall apart again. That actually went together pretty easy. Easier than I thought, but it's not there yet because I still have to get that nut down there on there, which is kind of a tight squeeze. As soon as I put all together, everything up above, I might be able to just take off this rubber, this part here, pull that out of the way. That part, pull that out of the way, and then I can have better access. We'll see. Yeah. So here's a trick I learned from Sam. So this little tiny bolt has to go in. I don't know if you can see in there, right in underneath there. Wait a minute till I get. Behind all that wire and everything like that. See right down there? Right there in that gaping hole, that bolt has to go in there. And if it falls through, I'm in trouble. So I just put a little bit of paper towel behind it and squeeze it in so then it won't come out of there, right? So it's tight in there. And now it gets a little drop of, whatever you call that stuff, Loctite on it. And I put it in and find the hole. It's all by braille. Yeah, there it's all together. For better or for worse, it's together. No, these holes here at the top, I don't know what they're. They must be for a different kind of mounting or a different setup on a different motor somewhere or other. Anyhow, these are all torqued down to, the motor ones are torqued down to like 65, I think. I forget. 65, yeah. The little bolts that hold the torque converter to the plate in there, they're 22 foot-pounds, which isn't very much, but I put some, they're only little tiny bolts anyhow. and I put some Loctite on them so they won't slide out. Now, next along the way now is I've got to figure out, like I've got all the weight held here, and so I've got to hold the weight on there whilst I change this contraption over so it'll pick the motor up and the transmission up together. So now I've got to figure that out. I'll just be a few minutes doing that. I'll likely use my power thing over there just to hold this end of it up. Hold this end of it up over here, and then I can loosen off that, and then reconfigure how to hold it on there. Yeah, there's a pretty simple thing. I just put a pipe down there and a pair of locking pliers on it here to hold it while I get this gizzed up for the next round here. Yeah, there, that worked. I guess it's all being held on there now. So now I'm going to let it down onto my motorcycle stand thing somehow and see if I can get it transported over to the other side there. Yeah, look at that now. It's all set to go. It's underneath the car. That took a little bit of work to get it back here, especially over that little hump there. But that little cart, it's amazing what you can do with a little cart. And now, if I let the car come down, and then see if I can jimmy that end of it up towards there, that'd be a good start. And then I'll have to get these axles around it because the starter's in the way there and everything. But I think they'll push far enough away out of the way to be able to make it go, I hope. We'll see. We'll see what happens. If I have to pull an axle out, I'll just pull the axle out. That's not a big deal. But we'll see how it goes. Yeah, it's getting pretty close. That my biggest problem was getting the around, what do you call those things? Around the axles. See the axle there? So the axles, when it came down, they were both sitting on top. So I had what I did was I pushed the motor over that way, let that side down, and then I had to let the motor down, let the car down far enough so that that side would go underneath, and then I was able to push this motor this way, to get this side to go down around that stuff. I thought I might have to start dismantling stuff for a bit, but nope, it seemed to come along all right. Now it's just a matter of letting it down and see if I can line it up with that. Oh, can you see up there? Yeah, right there. The nose of it's got to line up with that. And then once that's in, then you just let it down and see if you can get the these things here to hold in. And then the motor would be in. Isn't that amazing? Okay, well, I'll keep at it. Here I am underneath it, right? And that, can you see that? Above the jack there, the bolt is through right there. So I just got it close to the right place, jacked it up, took about 5 tries, but jacked it up, then I moved it forward a bit, jacked it up again, moved it forward a bit, then it fell off the rails over there, so I had to jack it up, put it back on the rails, then got it in. Eventually now it's in there, so now I have to jack, or let the hoist down, and this will come up on here, I hope, but right now that's touching on there, so might have to change my jacking positions around and put that jack, the big jack, underneath here and pull this thing out of here. We'll see. Well, that kind of fills up the engine compartment. I think it's supposed to have some sort of rubber around it, all the way around, surround it. So I'll see what I can do about finding something for that, or getting something for that. Anyhow, but for right now, I think now the next thing to do is just lift it up and see what happens. I think we're good. I think it's time to go up. Going up, nothing fell out. Must be okay. there for a minute or two and see what it looks like underneath here. So I was able to get those on. Where's my light? There's my light. Right down here. Okay. Here. Sorry about that. Here. Now. I was able to get those two on there. I need new bolts for that. Those bolts are temporaries until I get the proper ones for it, because they aren't the, like you can see, the nuts aren't very strong on them. Anyhow, that looks all right in there. It's got a motor in it. What the hell? What's going on here? And the exhaust pipe fits where it's supposed to fit. That thing there just came right off it. This side here, motor mounts are okay. Again, I need new bolts for them. And then underneath here, let's have a look underneath here. Huh. Yeah, that's all. Like, the transmission's pretty clean. I'll finish cleaning up underneath here a little bit, but I think we're okay. I don't see any leaks from the motor, so that'll be all right. And as far as I know, well, it turned over last time I checked, so that's all right. I guess the motor's in it now. I'll have to figure out all the fuel lines and stuff like that. And then I have to figure out how the heat pipes go, because I didn't want to do anything about the heat pipes until I got the motor in to see where everything goes, everything connects to. So I'll get it connected up and then figure out what to do. There you have it. One motor back in where it's supposed to be. Anyway, that's another good day's work, right? And that's the end of the day today. I won't do any more today. Kind of did me in, that one. Lots of heaving and pushing and everything like that. Before I go, I'll tie up these axles so they aren't hanging on themselves, which is, they say in the book, is not good for them. I got some wire hanging around somewhere. I don't know where. And then I still have to get them hooked onto the transaxle, and that'll be a tomorrow thing. And see that heater there, it goes right across there, and it goes that way, so I can easily get that from here. Huh. Well, how do you like that? Maybe this will turn into a will it run, hey? You know, all those videos that you see everywhere, 18,000 years been hidden underneath the ground. Will it run? Well, who knows, but it might. We'll see. Okay, that's all for today. I'm happy with that progress. Yeah, here I am. I got a new camera today. I don't know, can you see me? That's supposed to have a picture out front here, but I don't know. Anyhow, I've got an Action 3, a DJI Action 3 camera, and hopefully it'll do all right. Seems to be, just looking at it, it's a pretty nice clear picture, so we'll see. Supposed to have a screen in the front, screen in the back, but somehow I turned off the front screen, so I can't tell what's out there. That doesn't matter because that's fine. Now, in here, what did we do yesterday? Yesterday I was getting the motor into it. Hey, look, there's a motor in there. That's all right. So we'll see what happens next is, I guess I have to put the axles on it today, and a few, just start assembling all those bits that go along with motors. Axles and stuff like that. So it's a greasy day today, so I might even set up the camera and be able to see what's going on. Anyway, there you go. That's a good start. See you later. Yeah, so there now. Here, where am I? Right here. So these things here, that's the axles that I've got. They have to go right up in there, like that, right? So I'll first I have to, like, this is when they pack them at the factory, they put this strap on here. So I'll pull that off, then pack that full of the grease, which I have right now in my back pocket warming up. And once I get them packed up with grease, then I've got these the bolts plus these things here, which are the little washers that go on there. I just clean them up on the wire wheel, and that'll get all together. So I'll show you what happens as it goes along. Yeah, there's one side packed full of grease, so I'll just get the other side packed full of grease. And then that little gasket goes on it that you saw. Did you see that gasket? Wait, I'll show it to you. So here's the bolts, right? We got 6 bolts and that gasket. So that gasket goes on to the inside there. Inside, right there. And then it gets mounted up against the transmission, which I've got cleaned off there. Anyway, that's next, coming up. Where can we see in here? Here we are. So there, that's onto the, well, it's got a magnet mount on here, so it's going to contract lots of metal eventually. Anyhow, that's on the thing there, and those screws, I've just got them in snug. I don't have them in tight yet. So I'll get the other side, which is hanging there, get that thing greased up and put it on, and I'll show you what to get done. Yeah, here it is. So where does it say? Right over here somewhere. These sockets, head screws with lock washers, 45 nanometers or 33 foot-pounds. So 33 on this thing is right around, that's 30 right there where my thumb is. So I'll just make them up to 33 and then I'll show you the results. Yeah, well, here we are. Can you see in there? Yeah, that's those ones are all tightened up and torqued down. So I had to just like put a pry bar in here to hold it and then clamped it to there so it wouldn't fall down on my head, right? That's one side. The other side's done too. It's in the dark over there, so I won't go over there. The other thing I did here was I also, while you weren't watching, there's a ground wire that goes right here. There, can you see that? From here to in there. There's a ground wire in there for, you know, grounds out this whole thing here to the body. So now, next is starting to hook up some linkages, which are over here. There's one right there, eh? I'll see what that does. Rubber on it's a little bit suspect, right? We'll just see how it goes. Anyway, there you go. Yeah, here I am. So now that's all put back together there, and this rubber thing is suspect, right? But I guess I'll live with it. And then the fuel, I wonder if you can see that, or do I need to bring the light in? Wait a minute, I'll bring the light in. This bit here, I put double nutted that so that it would hold it up against there tight. That's the throttle cable, and it also has a suspect rubber at the end of it, but I'm going to live with that too. And then the emergency brake goes up through there. Oops, there. Emergency brake goes up through out of the way. Then little simple things like emergency brake there, out of the way. And I did put these clippy things into the emergency brake. I had to drill out the holes to just about 10 millimeters to make it so they fit, those clippy things that fit. That one there went in good. This one here, not as good, but it'll hold. And now, what else? That's about it for today. It's about, you know, it's quitting time. But we're doing okay. Now, let me see. Just hang up this light somewhere. Light never hangs when you want it to hang. So, first day with the new camera. It seemed to work all right. How do you think? What do you think? Does it work okay? I'm supposed to have a screen on front here, but I don't know why. Swipe to unlock screen. Well, there. There. Oh yeah, there I am. that seems to work all right with the screen on both sides. You just turn it around one way or the other. The other one, oh, now this screen here is gone. So I guess you swipe to unlock that screen. Well, there you go. So that'll get my greasy hands on everything. Anyhow, here it is way up high there, and it'll stay up there for a bit, and then the motor's solid in there. These things, like I said, I have to get new bolts for up in there, but that's, you know, not an emergency for that. I'll get it running before that happens. And I think I've tightened up everything. I've got these all torqued down to whatever the specification was. I think it was 33 foot-pounds on those, on both sides. And all those things are, these axle things are all greased up, and so 30, what did I say, 35 pounds, 33 pounds on those things. And maybe it's, we'll just keep on going, and it might actually run one of these days here. I'll just keep on going on it. So looks like I guessed pretty close to where the fuel line's got to come through. And I've got to put that vapor tank. There's a vapor tank here somewhere. It's been in my way forever. There it is right there underneath my coat. Got to put that vapor tank in there soon. It goes right up in here. And the light out there. Right up in there where those two bolts are. But that needs to be cleaned up a bit. There's still some cleaning up to do in there. And there we go. Okay, that's all for today. I'll see you tomorrow, I hope. Let's see if I can shut this. Yeah, there it is. So anyhow, here I am. I'm back on the Volkswagen Westfalia. Now yesterday I got in, where did I do? I was down back here getting motor stuff, picky little things underneath here. Now, I don't know if you've, have I shown you the top part here yet? Here's the top part anyhow. All that is assembled. Now I have to get some gas lines to it and the return line hooked up, and then the electricity stuff to go to it. But I think most of that's all set to go here. What will I do today? I'm not really sure what I'll do today, but I'll get there, I'm sure. Anyway, we'll get started and see how things go. Yeah, there, that thing there is called the charcoal container. Yeah, charcoal container. That's a vapor thing. So the line, there's two lines on the top. I don't know if you can see them or not. I got too many things in my hands here. Yeah. So there's a line coming in here. That comes from the gas tank. This goes to the air breather on one side. And then the bottom line here goes to the air breather on the other side somehow or other. I'll figure that out later when I'm hooking up the air breather, I guess. I think I'll find a couple of hoses at a couple of places that'll fit. And it seems to be the way that everything fits in there, and that's the way the book has it described. So I'll go with that. Yeah, here it is. Now this, see this hose here? That's a plastic hose that goes up to that's the return line. Now where it hooks into the motor, it's supposed to have some sort of a sleeve inside there so that it doesn't, when you put it on with a hose clamp, it doesn't collapse this hose. Now I don't have quite the right size for any of that, so here I have, I'll show you what I did have, what I do have. This is brake line hose, but it's a little bit too small, right? And then I have all these fittings here for air fittings made out of brass. So I figured I'd take the lathe and just get one down small enough to fit on there. Now I just want to check the measurements, right? Here's this thing. That's zeroed. So the measurement right now is 6.7 millimeters, right? And the measurement in here, oh, it's a two-handed thing. Hang on, I'll put you down, I'll check it out. Yeah, so the measurement on the inside of this little pipe here is about 6 millimeters, 5.7 or I've got a couple of measurements off it. One was 5.7, like there's 5.3. Put it in again. Depends how you get it, eh? 5.3. So 5.3 is the measurement in there, and this thing here right now is, what did I say? 6.48 millimeters. So I've got a, this is in thousandths of an inch, eh? Or 25 millimeter chunks, 0.025 millimeters per little thing, right? So I'll just, how many more little things do I have to go down? I got a 6.48, 6.5, so I've got to go down 0.25. Oh, well, I'll just keep going until I get it right. I'll see. I'll test it because I don't really know for sure. Yeah, here we'll just follow along here and see what happens. Turn it on, and right now I've got it right to that there, and that's 6.48 or 6.5. So I'll give it 2 chunks here. But it really goes twice the distance because it's taken off of both sides, eh? I likely moved too fast here. That's a better speed there, eh? When nice finishes to go at that speed. No, it was 6.48 when I started. I moved 2 of these pieces over, right? See how big it is now. 6.59. Hasn't changed, but I think I just didn't get that measured quite right. 6.21, so 6.4, so it came down 0.2 of a millimeter. So if I go another 2, then I put some heat to that thing there, it'll likely squeeze in there. So I'll move down here another couple of things. And this is what I bought this little lathe for, just for doing simple things like this. Maybe one day I'll learn how to do things a bit better and be able to make better things on it. But it doesn't do, I guess you got to be real patient when you're working with steel. The steel is pretty hard stuff. But this thing here, it seems to, you know, cut it down all right. It started out pretty big and it's come down to about the size I want. I'm going to try that out and see what happens. Okay, I gotta turn you off for a minute. Yeah, so here, now, I don't know how I can hold this. I've got to get a holder one of these days, I will. But this piece of pipe here that I made, see there, it fits in there just nice. I put a bit of heat to this and then pushed it in and it fit well. So now I'm gonna cut it off, you know, just this side of it so that there's a shoulder there and it won't push down the pipe, eh? And it'll go into that other pipe and won't, you know, be stuck in there good. So that'll be what happens next. I'll see if I can put that shoulder to it. Anyway, I'm gonna shut you off for a minute here while I get set up. Yeah, so here I go. I got this little tool stuck on there that sort of just, whoops, makes noise and cut right through it. You can see that groove in there is getting deeper every time I go. I just go a bit at a time. Okay, I should put some oil on there. Okay, I should get some oil to put on there. Hang on, we'll go over here and get oil. Yep, having fun with my lathe. I haven't really had much of a chance to make use of this lathe. Paul did some work on his motorcycle stuff one time here. Yeah, there it goes. How much oil left in this thing? That must be true. There it is. Came out right in my hand here. So there it is. And I made it a little bit of a, like it's got a little bit of a bump on the end of it there to make things come on. And I'll just chamfer that a bit on the inside. Well, that's kind of what I wanted, just a guard for the inside of that plastic hose so that you can tighten it down with a clamp. That was a lot of work for a little tiny thing there. And, you know, that's why these things just take forever, right? Okay, see you later. Yeah, back to cleaning wires here. So this one here, the end was missing on it. I put a new end on it. This goes onto the main starter thing, where the battery cable comes, and that goes to the relay for the fuel pump. This one here goes to the ignition, like right up to the ignition, the key. There's a relay up there, I think, for this. And then this one here goes to the coil. And they're all the right colors. So I'll put them on in the appropriate spot in there, and I'll see what happens then. Where am I? Oh, okay, here. This is the wire that goes from the starter down here to the alternator up there. Now both these wires, and I followed it through on the wiring diagram, they both come from the alternator, and they both go to the positive terminal, the battery terminal on the starter. And then I put a grommet in the middle there so it'll go through the wall okay. And I'll see if I can get it installed in the right spot. Now I've got the, I don't know if you can see up there? Way up there, go way up there. I can't see. Anyhow, you can see I've got a, maybe you can see I've got, yeah, there. I've got a tie wrap around that solenoid there so that I can get the wires tied down to it. So I'll put this wires through and then see if I can get that all together there. I'll show you when I get done. If I get done. Here I am. Now, where am I? Here. And you can see up there well now. So you can see at the back there, this is the wire that comes from the battery. Yeah, can you see my finger? That's the wire that comes from the battery. These wires here, this set here goes to the alternator. That set in there goes to the fuel relay and the ignition switch and the coil. So there's 6 wires on the starter. 4 of them are on the positive pin. Oh well, so they're all hot all the time because there's no fuse on that sucker. Anyway, they're in there and I've got it, I'll show you up above here if you can see. I don't know, not much light up here, but it comes through here. Wait, I'll get my flashlight out, formerly known as a telephone. There. So that you can see that the red wire going in the back of the alternator here, which is this bit here, and it comes through the wall over there. Can you see that? Yeah, you can see that where the grommet comes through. There's a grommet here for the fuel line come through, and then there's another grommet over to the left of it, over to the driver's side of it, for the wiring to come through. And then these 2 pipes here that I put on earlier, they come through right here, and they'll go into the air cleaner system somehow or other, which might get on here tomorrow, because that's pretty well it for today. It's amazing how little tedious tasks that you have to, tedious tasks, that's a good word, eh? little tiny tasks that have to take so long to do. But, you know, that's kind of interesting. So that'll be it for today, and I'll come back and try again tomorrow. See you then. Yeah, here I am. It's February 6th today. Now over the weekend, last 4 days, 3 or 4 days, it was minus major around here. 25 below zero, and then a big wind blowing, so it was wind chills of 40 below. A little bit of snow, lots of blowing. Fortunately only just a little bit of snow. But the one thing that 40 below stuff does, it makes it so the ice forms. So from going from zero ice the other, like 4 or 5 days ago, and last Friday there was no ice around, to ice cover. Yay! Finally have some ice at the cove. Makes it a much more normal looking winter. Now a little bit of wave action will happen, and you can see it already happening here. Oh yeah, must have been a pretty good wind blowing that ice up onto the shore here. But a little bit of wave action will happen, and then that'll make it so that there's whatever you call it, icebergs or ice cakes. Now there's a seal, or a few seals out there on the ice. I don't know if you can see that. I'll see if I can make this thing zoom in. There, do you see anything right out in the middle of the shot there? There's a bunch of seals out there. Anyway, but that's how it is. But it's nice and warm today. I better go and check and see if there's outflow from the pond or not. There you go. So, check up from the cove.